and welcome to this episode of HealthWise 360, a creation of Clarissa Burt, founder of In the Limelight Media. I'm your show host, Chrissy Cordingley, and you'll be able to see this interview on In the Limelight TV, which is distributed on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and 100 other smart TV apps. The audio version can also be heard wherever you listen to your podcasts. And today I'm really thrilled to be interviewing Diane Cherico, a licensed massage therapist and medical massage practitioner. She is certified in active isolated stretching, also known as AIS, a very simple yet effective therapy for all ages that works in relieving all kinds of muscular pain. She's worked with hundreds of people who couldn't get relief with medication or physical therapy, and her stretch techniques have helped many live a pain-free life. She's based in New Jersey, where she has had her own practice called Get the Knots Out since 1999. So welcome to the show, Diana. Diane.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so excited to have you on. So how did you get into you've been doing this for quite a while. How did you get into this practice, and what do you enjoy most about it?
Well, I got in because I always wanted to be a registered nurse. I did the candy striper thing when I was young, and I thought, oh, this is definitely my calling. I got to help people. And I was in an abusive relationship, and I needed to get out. So I was looking into nursing, and it's just way too much schooling because I'm a mother of two.
Yeah.
And, I had to get out with my kids. And so, my sister said, my friend does massage therapy, and there was a massage therapy, a school close to my house. And I said, okay, I always thought of massage as spa, but I didn't realize what a healing profession it really is. I'm so blessed to have gotten into this field, and I'm very happy. I have learned a lot since then.
Yeah. And what do you enjoy most about it now?
That I get to help people everywhere.
Yeah.
I was in a pizzeria, just eating my dinner, and I saw the waitress walking around, and I knew she was in pain. So I was like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
No matter what party I'm at, no matter where I am, I help people even the supermarket. I'm like,
Yeah.
what'd you do? What'd you do? They're like, they just talk to me.
That's awesome. You are a healer for sure. Definitely have
Amen.
that
Thank
energy
you.
of like people want to be near you. I like that. So
Oh, thank you.
what is maybe just explain to our audience, what is AIS and how does it specifically help pain management?
Yes, I'm really happy to share this information. There's stretch places popping up everywhere. So I'm really glad that people understand and know the benefits of stretch. But what I was taught, and this therapy has actually been in our country for over 60 years, but unless you're lucky enough to stumble upon it, nobody really knows that it exists. As opposed to holding a stretch, which is what we've all been taught, hold it, the longer you hold it, the better. But if you think about this, your muscle fibers when you're young, they're like so loose. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's why babies can fall and, get up and have no problems, and they're so free. But then life happens, and overuse, repetitive use, injuries, accidents. And what happens is our muscle fibers get all knotted up, henceforth, get the knots out. So, you could massage this, but there's no medication that's going to open this. So if you think about this, if you hold a stretch, that's all you get.
Yeah.
But active isolated stretching are reps of like 2 to 3 seconds. So you hold it and you do reps. So you open it, shh, release, release. So the range of motion, I got the best range of motion I've ever had in my life, and I'm 60 years old. It's
Aw.
amazing. Yeah.
That-
I've seen people transform before my eyes. I'm like, they started with no range of motion. And then before you know it, they're just swinging their arm back, and yes, yes.
That's awesome. And I think, well, and I know like even as far as other illnesses and that, like if you go to a cardiologist, the first thing that they check is your balance and flexibility, right? So it's definitely a sign of good health all around when you have the ability to move your body in the direction you need it to, and also to maintain that sturdiness, right? That also comes from having good muscle fibers and tissues. So what do
Plus,
you think?
plus the blood flow. It
Yeah,
helps the blood flow. So you're going to get all the nutrients to your muscles better. You're going to get rid of that lactic acid that builds up when we have tension, and
yeah.
gets rid of a lot of the stuff that builds up in our muscles. So
Mhm.
it's benefit all around.
Absolutely. So, I mean, and you, what do you think? I was going to ask this question. I'm just trying to think of how to word it properly. So, why do you think chronic pain has become so prevalent, especially over the last while? What are the most common situations that you come across in your practice? Like, why are people getting injured? Why are they suffering these soft tissue injuries? What is happening out there that this has become almost its own epidemic?
Yeah. Um, Stress, we have a tendency. I mean, I find a lot of upper trap and rhomboids, which are between the shoulder blades. A lot of people are sitting at their desks or they're driving. And in that, just driving alone, especially in New Jersey, is stressful enough. Driving into the city, it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, people are yelling at each other. And repetitive use. There's so many hunched over, or they got their phones and everybody's looking at their phone. Years ago, there was a news release that kids were getting, they were calling them horns in the back of their neck, but really they're bone spurs
Oh,
because they were kept looking down. So, it definitely hinders that. But doing these stretches reverses that damage. And the reason that it's so painful is, and I said this to somebody, I said it helps the attachment. They're like, what is the attachment? I'm like, okay, anatomy, physiology. So what happens is our muscles attach to tendons and they attach to bones or ligaments over joints.
yep.
So when the muscles attach, and then you think about this, that tight muscle pulling at that attachment, if it's your vertebrae, that's how you get herniated and bulging and even stenosis. Because when you don't get that muscle to stop pulling, that's where it starts with bulging, herniated. And the stenosis is when it's at its full end of pulling and it impinges the nerve ending coming out. So that's why it takes a little while to get it back, but it just like any kind of, I call them a live it, instead of a diet, I go on a live it because I'm going to live it longer.
Yeah, it's so
You know,
much.
right? Isn't that cool? It's a good, I
Yes.
want to change that. I want to call it a live it. So when you do anything to your body, it's going to take a little while to get better, but in time, it it'll release it and your bones will go back. And when I do these stretches, I get my own adjustments.
Mhm.
Every time I do this stretch, the off the bed stretch, which I love in my book, it only takes 3 minutes a night. And this is what I tell my clients: you're not allowed in your bed until you stretch off it. So
Oh,
it takes 3 minutes, and it's one where you put your head back, and we all have a backward C curve in our neck,
yes.
but with life and stress and pulling on it, a lot of times it can either get crooked or just straight, and henceforth headaches, migraines, neck pain, neck getting frozen.
Mhm.
A lot of muscle spasms are due to tight muscles.
Yeah. What is the
Yeah.
stretch over the bed? How can you show us a little bit?
Oh yes. Okay.
Is
Good.
there a
Thank
way to
you.
show it
I'm
on the
glad.
camera? Yeah.
Yeah. What you're gonna do is, if you have a footboard,
Yep.
then is go sideways on the bed, because what you want to do is have your shoulders on the bed and just the top of your head off. And you see how that's going to be? That's the
Oh,
best traction.
so your head is off the
Yes,
bed.
yes. So, and then you come up and you massage the base of your skull, which is called your occipital ridge.
Mhm.
And then you can find there's two bumps,
Yep.
and that's called your occipital ridge protuberance. And when you massage that, that's where levator scapula comes up, and
Mhm.
that can give you terrible pain. So while you're laying there, you just might massage the base of your skull. And then when you're done with that, because that feels good in itself, you put your arms up. Arms up.
And let them fall with your. Oh, yes.
Feel
Yep.
that? It
Mhm.
opens up your pec muscles, rotator cuffs, biceps, triceps, a little bit of your lats. It's so wonderful. A little bit of your abdomen. And then, now this is the best one, because in between your shoulder blades, out those rhomboids,
Yes.
they're a real pain. Sometimes you feel like you got an ice pick in there. So while you're you clasp your fingers together, turn them out, and now try it. Come
Oh, yeah,
back up.
that's a whole different stretch. Yeah, you feel it right in the back.
Oh,
Feels so good.
isn't that
I love stretching.
wonderful?
I love stretching.
Oh, I
I
know. Me too. Every night. I'm worth it. I deserve it. I take 15, 20 minutes every night for myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I when I'm exercising on that's my motivation. If I work out, then I get to do a whole bunch of stretching because that's my favorite part. So
Good for
actually getting me
you.
moving, yeah. And I practice a yin yoga, which has sort of similar movements to the active stretching, which is
Oh,
also very
good.
good for the central nervous system, right? Because it's and when you're
Excellent.
doing those stretches and you're breathing, you're also putting your body's parasympathetic nervous system on, which is really good for healing and reducing inflammation and trauma to the body, which is just amazing, right? It's just such a great mindfulness practice as well, to just be mindful of what you're feeling in your body and scan and know how it's going to move. So, oh, so
Well said.
thank,
Well said. I have to commend you on that because not many people know about that.
yeah,
So, yes, I'm very impressed.
thank
It's good.
you. Thank you. I'm impressed with you too. And
Thank you.
so, talking about stress, because it's funny, we're like, stress is an emotion, stress is mental. How does it actually create physiological issues?
Because we hold ourselves.
Yeah.
When you're stressed out, what do people do? They right away get tense and tight. And I mean, I've seen people with shoulders like up to here. I'm like, geez, we gotta relax that. And breathing. You're right. Breathing is key, and it's number one. I actually, in my book,
Hmm.
you can if you say you can.
Yes, it's great.
I
Great.
actually have a chapter on breathing because
Oh,
there is a right way to breathe. I mean, a lot of times people breathe very shallow, and
yes.
that's also detrimental to you because you're not getting a full body breath. When I heard full body breath, I was like, what is a full body breath? But it's when you take in that full breath, fill up your belly. You
Hmm.
fill up that Buddha belly and let it come out. And then when you breathe out, you let your stomach come back like it's getting pulled. That's where that helps, that calm, soothing. I mean, in any situation, I stop and take a breath. I've learned how to breathe properly. It's
Yeah.
actually a good workout for our abs too when you breathe properly, when you fill up your belly and then bring it back. And it just relieves those nerve endings and the blood flow and everything else. And then when you start to breathe properly, you do it with everything.
Hmm.
When people even just picking up groceries or whatever you're doing, if you breathe properly, you're going to not tax your body so much.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes a difference.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. There was something else I was going to say about that, and it slipped my mind. It'll come back.
Of course. And thank you for saying that. So many times we say, oh, geez, my brain. You know
Yeah,
what? I'm not self-sabotaging
yeah.
anymore. You're going to remember it. Yes, I like that.
Yeah, it'll come back when it's meant to. So you talk a little about your book. You also have a DVD. Would you like to share a little bit about those and how people can work with you?
Sure. The DVD, which I'm working on getting a download.
Yes.
Like I'm
Yeah.
great with the body, but when it comes to this technical stuff, I'm a work in progress. I admit.
Delegate. Delegate it. Yeah.
That's what I have to do. That's what I have to do. But the DVD I did many, many years ago because my clients, when I had a stretch class in my office, they were like, "This is great, but I want to do it when I want to do it and on a regular basis." So I got myself to, one of my clients started taking this up as a hobby. So I said, okay, let's do it.
Mhm.
And it's full, you stretch your whole body from head to toe. And it's under an hour. My teacher's was like an hour and 25 minutes, and it was a little boring, and he went into detail. For regular people, for a dancer, you're going to need a little bit more, but this will still help you. But for, everyday problems, it really does. It gets every part of your body. And what I love about it is when you do it, you realize, oh, I didn't know that was that tight.
Yes.
And so the ones that you really feel when you do the video are the ones that you're going to want to do every night. And then you'll get them before they get chronic, before you get that horrible pain that's just going to antagonize us, because once you're in chronic pain, acute pain is our body's alarm system. That's saying something's wrong here. And in everybody's defense, we don't really know what to do. You're like, you baby it for a little bit. Some people put a little heat, which heat is not my answer. Ice, because
Mm,
ice is a natural inflammatory.
yeah.
So that brings down any inflammation that's in that area. And if it's still bothering you, you must stretch it. There's that so healing and helpful in any situation when it comes to our muscles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember what I was going to say earlier. It was when you were
Okay.
talking about breath and doing breath work while you're stretching. Sometimes I like to imagine when I'm deeply breathing that my breath is going exactly where the pain or the discomfort is, right? Or the knot.
Oh,
So I breathe it in and I picture the air wrapping around that muscle and releasing it. And I find that that helps a little bit. It feels like you're soothing yourself, and you're really, paying attention to what your body is trying to tell you.
that's wonderful.
Thank
That's a really great suggestion.
you.
May I use that? May I
Of,
use that?
of course, of course. I'm no expert, but yeah, of course, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I like that idea. Yeah, because when you're taking that breath in and filling up your belly, if you have an area that's a problem, putting your breath there is healing. It's kind of like your own Reiki.
Yes,
You've heard of
Reiki.
Reiki?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, but Reiki is hands-on, but you're doing it with your breath, so I like that.
Yep, yes. Energy centers and all that wonderful stuff.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
oh shoot, it slipped my mind again. I just get so excited. I,
I'm,
um,
I'm happy.
yeah. Just one second here.
Sure, sure.
Um, I thought I had something to do. We talked about stress in your book and your DVD. Oh well, I'm really sorry, Dan. My mind is all over
That's
the
okay.
place.
Okay,
But
you're very human today. It's okay.
yeah, I'm having a very human moment. That's for sure. I need
Mm.
some brain exercises. Absolutely. So, what what um what have you seen some of your clients undergo as far as like transformation or healing?
Oh, so many. I have this one man who had several shoulder surgeries. And he was so bad, he was sleeping in his recliner because he
Oh,
just couldn't get comfortable in bed. And everybody kept telling him about me. And he was like, not massage. I can't do massage. Like, it's massage. And they're like, try her. She's different. And
mm,
so when I got him, I did. I got him doing bicep stretch. I got him doing his rotator cuff. And now I admit he was really good with the stretches. He said, okay, this is different. I'm going to really try this. And he really did his homework. And that's what you have to do is you have to help yourself. So
mhm.
he did these on a regular basis and he did these on a regular basis. And then he did his deltoid.
Yep.
So he did the deltoid stretch on a regular basis. And I knew, I said, when I started working on him, I said, I'm going to have to do some lower back stuff too, because he's been sleeping in his chair. So I knew when one pain is overtaking you, it covers up another pain sometimes. So I started having him do his piriformis stretch, which is a pain in the butt. We're going to do that one after this. That's such a good one. I love that one. So I had him start doing the piriformis stretch because sure enough, he went to his physical. I mean, he had been in physical therapy for over 9 months and
Oh,
they were working him, but it's not the same as stretching.
mm-mm.
So before you know it, he was like, I got full range of motion in my arm, Diane. That's great. I was like, yes, Dan, that's wonderful. And he's like, but my lower back is real. I said, I know. That's why we started working on your lower back. And so now that's going to be the next thing. And he's so much, he was so much better and he was so happy with life. And I have so many of these stories, but I don't want to bore you, but that's a
No,
good
no,
one.
but that's a really great one. And you bring a good point to that. And this is what I was going to mention too, because I used to work in occupational safety, so ergonomics was a thing, but and physiology, right? So
Oh, sure.
when you talk about getting to the root of the issue, you're right. Certain pain sometimes comes up as a mask. So you may get rid of one because everything is connected, right? Like our body is basically a whole system of pulleys and strings, right? That's our
Mm,
muscles, our ligaments and tissues. So you
exactly. And
can
our
hurt your
fascia.
hand but you're
Yeah.
feeling it in your neck and you're like, oh, what's going on? Right. So it's getting to
Yeah.
that root of the issue. I remember having bad headaches, but they found an injury down in that deltoid area.
Oh,
I was like, but I hurt
yes.
here. Why? And then yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I surprise a lot of people. I'm like, oh, here's your knot. They're like, but that's not where my pain is. I said,
Mm-mm.
I know, but that's where it's coming from. And
Mhm.
then when I fix that, they're like, oh, yes. Sometimes people get tinglies in their fingers when they wake up. That's their rhomboid
Yeah.
because the nerve endings come out and they're impinged. So when I touch their rhomboid, they're like, oh, that really hurts there, but that's not the pain. But it is all connected. You're absolutely right.
So what can people do? So you talk about not waiting until it's so chronic that it's an issue. What are some of the first signs people can look for? You mentioned one there about if you have tingling fingers, maybe that's a sign to do some more stretching to the back. What are some other things people can do sort of preventatively? What can get them thinking about, I want to prevent some of these tissue injuries?
Well, that's why I like my stretching
Mhm.
DVD
Yeah.
because that's where you're really going to learn what's going to be the problem down the line, you
Nice.
know. Um, but what they can do is first start breathing properly.
Mhm.
Try to do that stretch off the bed, which is great. Do you want to do the pariformis stretch for the
Yes,
pain in the butt?
please. Yeah, let's see. I want to
Yeah.
feel that. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So, what you do, because it is a pain, called the piriformis and it attaches at your hip and it goes under your glutes and attaches at your lumbar.
Mm.
So it really is responsible for so much of our lower back pain. And that's sciatica because the sciatic nerve runs right over the piriformis. So the piriformis is unhappy. It's going to impinge that sciatic nerve, henceforth sciatica.
Mhm.
So the way that we stretch it is you sit on the front 1/4 of your chair,
Mhm.
walk your feet out so that you can see them. Now put one leg up on the other one. So your ankle is on your
Mhm.
thigh, on your thigh.
Yep.
Yeah. Now you pull up on your foot, pull up on your foot, push down on your leg, and come forward.
Oh, that feels good.
And then come back up. So it's one breath out. Now we have a tendency to go towards our knee, which is what I think you're doing.
Yeah.
You want to come forward, straight down, so you feel it right in your hip. Release. One more time, down. Release. You
Yeah,
feel
that's
that in
good
your
stress.
hip,
Yes.
in your groin area, because you get your hip flexors as well. This opens up so much of your whole hip, your bum, everything. It's a great stretch. And so what I suggest is you do about 5. Shake it out. Do the other side, do 5, shake it out. You always got to make nice because
Mhm.
once you're done stretching the muscles, like what the heck? And then you make nice. And it says, oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I speak for the muscles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just do at least 20. Because if you do like 5 minutes of cardio, you're not going to really get much. But you do 20 minutes of cardio and you're going to really get benefit. Same thing with these stretches. You want to do
Mhm.
at least 20. If it's something's really bothering you, do sets of 5 to 7 to 8 to 10, and then always do at least 20 to 25. Go slow. A lot of people have a tendency to want to get them done. So
So
they
they
go,
rush.
shh,
Yeah.
shh, no, 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 no. You go slow and then release and release. And then it opens up that muscle beautifully.
I love that. It's an area too where you get back problems, but also you can get knee problems too, right? So stretching the quadriceps and that whole, the abductors and stuff on the
Yes,
outside, really, really
absolutely.
important to keep
Yes,
those
it
limber.
is.
And it's from sitting,
Yeah.
I think, because we're sitting with it
Agreed.
abducted all day long, right? Or inducted or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah, no, we're not supposed to be sitting in a chair like this, We're supposed to be moving for one.
Yeah.
And we're actually supposed to be sitting like, how you ever see a 1-year-old sit, like just that they plop down, and I was
Yeah.
like, geez, it doesn't look comfortable, but babies like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
That
why
squat.
chairs
Yeah.
chairs are not ergonomically correct for us, but we got
No.
to do it. We
Yeah.
got to work.
Yes, yes, I agree. And I know one of the things too, for women especially, I find this was an issue with me, was when you are sitting, sitting crooked or on one leg, right? So
Yeah.
now you're holding
Yeah.
this weird position and you're never really evening it out. And that has resulted in some,
Absolutely. That's repetitive use.
yes, yes.
Yes, that's repetitive use syndrome, and it is real. It is
Mhm.
real. When we keep using our muscles and overusing them and abusing them, they rebel.
They have
But
to.
that's why this is the answer. So there's a lot of good stuff in my book. You
Mhm.
can if you say you can. And you can get it on www.getthenotsout.org. And it even features my 85-year young mom
Aw,
in the book.
oh,
Yes. And she's going to be 86 this month. She still dances. She still runs ring around everybody. I mean, God bless her. She's a good example. And she's
mhm.
been doing my stretches forever. And I'll tell you, this winter, she got a little lazy. She got human, and she got a little lazy, and she got this pain in her calf. And I said, Mom, it's your tight muscle. And
Mhm.
my brother was afraid. He was like, family. My clients believe me, but family.
Yeah.
So my brother says, take her to the hospital, make sure she doesn't have a blood clot. So we took her, and they said, no, it's your muscle. They said, but you can't leave until you walk. Luckily, I was there because I massaged her. We
Mhm.
got her up walking. She was like, "Oh my God, you're great." Okay. And now she's back doing all her stretches she goes, "I got my rope right here, Di. I'm doing it."
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
really good. Isn't that nice
Yeah.
to have family involved in your passion? I think that's really awesome.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially my mom, and you should see her go to her friend's house. She's like, "What do you mean you're sitting? We got to get you stretching. I'm going to go get you a rope." She goes to the dollar store, gets them a rope, and, teaches them how to stretch themselves. She's like, no sitting.
Yes, movement is life. I agree.
Amen. Amen.
So, before we wrap up, are there any last thoughts or ideas you might want to share with the audience?
Well, I'm glad that they're here listening to your podcast and hearing all the good advice. Because if you just change one or two things in your daily, life, you can change a lot of physical and mental things that can help you to live a more vibrant, healthier, happy life, because there's too much tragedy and there's too much stress.
Mhm.
So taking care of you is the best thing you can do. So
It
God
really-
bless everybody.
Thank you so much, Diane. We really appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here, and thank you for teaching me some things. I
Oh,
love it.
thank
We
you.
should never stop learning because
Never.
life never stops teaching, right? Buddha says.
You need neuroplasticity as much as we need physical flexibility. I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Amen. Well said.